Okay. Let's go. Stretch out. Did you wake up do your stretches this morning?
No.
Okay. I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. This is This Week
in Cruton.
It's This Week in Recruiting. A very limber edition of This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers and Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter, Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express. I had it delivered to my house on Friday.
Let's go.
That is as bougie as it gets.
Not only had it delivered, but also shared with everyone.
I texted you. I
Yeah.
texted you two.
Yep.
I texted you two because I was homesick with kid, and so I couldn't go anywhere, and so I was like, all right, I need it.
Well, you were home with sick kid.
Did I say that incorrectly?
You said I was home sick with kid.
I was home with sick kid. Thank
yeah,
you.
you're
Did
welcome.
you let Max try that gravy?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you should have.
I
Golden
should have. That's a missed
opportunity.
opportunity, and that's on me. And listen, that's on me.
Bad
I'm calling my own
parenting.
foul here. I'm calling my own foul.
Bad
okay?
parenting.
I should have. But yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm home. When you're home with a sick kid, you just you feel kind of helpless. You're like, what's going to make me feel better? I know.
Chicken
if somebody
Express.
will bring me some corn nuggets to my house. And they did.
Chickeny.
It was great. Love you, Chickeny.
Love you, Chickeny.
They by the way, they stopped sponsoring us years ago. We just keep doing this.
That is not true.
The contract ran out.
That is not true. That is not true.
This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers and Next Level Athlete. Let's start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise go to the Houston area to talk to New Caney 2023 cornerback CJ Blocker.
Amazing. A miss.
CJ Blocker,
Slightly.
yeah, it's here's the thing. He's 6 foot 165 pounds. So he was never going to be a guard, which is what he should be, you know? But in any case, he picked up his first Power 5 offer this week from Nebraska. He also had an offer from Tulsa. He's got offers from a couple of in-state FCS schools like Houston Baptist and Incarnate Word, plus Louisiana Tech and Northwestern State. This guy's running a 10.600. So he's doing something right out there in New Caney.
Sub 22 200, and this one feels really good. I hope Guy Frazier's listening to the podcast today
Call him
because we had a discussion at the state championship games, and we were talking about our deepest sleepers in the state. I sent one name and one name only, and that was CJ Blocker.
Mm-hmm.
And now look at him, getting his first P5 offer from Nebraska this
that?
week. So I feel some validation on this one. He had some other schools, wanting him to play for them, but now he's starting to really take off. And what I really like about his game is he's a guy that can, guard the receiver one-on-one. He's got really limber hips or a lot of agility, a guy who can hang with a receiver, stay in his hip pocket deep down the field. A coverage guy, a true coverage guy. And that's what jumped out to me about his tape. And I think that's why you're starting to see these colleges start to get on him, in addition to that world-class speed.
Yeah, he's a burner and a guy you're going to get to know a little about. It's funny because New Caney, past couple of years, have been more of an offensive powerhouse. They've had big-time playmakers offensively. Now, here's a guy on the defensive side that people are going to sit up and pay attention to. New Caney cornerback CJ Blocker. I guess Blocker, you're blocking passes. There's something there. It's a good name. It's an excellent football name. Let's see if we can throw another 200 pounds on him movement side. How about that?
I don't know, man.
I mean, if they're throwing to the other end of the field, there's at least a little bit of blocking he's having to do.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And he's probably an excellent blocker on whenever there's an interception and he's blocking.
Right.
That's the movie that's going on in my mind.
This
There
poor
you go.
kid.
Anyway, he picked up an offer from Nebraska this week. Big doings there for CJ Blocker out of New Caney. Let's move on to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week. Let's go way out west to El Paso to talk about, I will unapologetically say, one of my favorite players, which is L.J. Martin, the Canutillo athlete, which I guess is probably true. They really line him up at running back out there at Canutillo, but it's more just because their offense is more based around giving the ball on the ground, and he is really good at that. He committed this week to Texas Tech, had offers from places like Baylor, SMU, UTSA, Kansas, and Kansas State. We've got him as a 3-star prospect. We've got him as the 94 ranked prospect in the DCTF Hot 100. I'll just read this directly from the questionnaire we got from Coach Scott Brooks, out there at Canutillo, who, by the way, has been coaching a long time, entering his 24th year at Canutillo.
Nice.
Okay, and he says he is probably the best football player I have ever coached. That's
Nice.
saying something. But L.J. Martin's the real deal, man.
I just want to put it on wax that I've been beating this drum since week 1 of last season when I saw him play.
You absolutely have. You have been on the L.J. Martin bandwagon since before it was cool.
All right.
You were seeing him at concert venues that only hold like 200
yeah,
people.
buddy.
All right, Pickle. Now that I know that you saw L.J. Martin week 1 and I didn't receive a text that he was the real deal, I have to put you on notice. Like when you're out at these games traveling the state and you see
It's on
these
my
top-
Twitter. I can go back and find it on my Twitter.
Okay. I need like a special shout out.
Okay,
there,
that's
like
fine.
A special
That's
note,
fair.
Like Greg, L.J. Martin.
Because he was
real
playing
deal.
against the Burgess kid, the Mizzou.
Yeah.
And he was
Tavoris Jones.
Yeah, I mean, he's great. And that was all the hype going. And I was like, y'all seeing the other side of the field?
Yeah.
Like, my gosh.
6'2", 200 pounds. He's a guy that they do use in multiple ways. He'll line up at Wildcat quarterback, wide receiver, running back. You see him here returning a kick. Just a kind of a Mr. Do-It-All for his squad, and a guy who I think is probably going to get his first crack at running back. I kind of agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I really like how he looks out of the backfield. He can do anything. But I think he should get his first shot at running back. But, man, I mean, I even have visions of this guy. Could he beef up and be a linebacker? Does he have that type of mentality? I mean, there's like so many different things that I think, or maybe even the safety as he is right now. He could probably play 4 different positions at the college level, which I think makes him extremely valuable. What I really like about him coming out of the backfield is he's one of those guys who has like a weaving, smooth style of the way he runs the ball is just smooth.
He's very quick without ever looking like he's trying hard.
Reminds me of Kennedy Brooks a lot. You know how Kennedy Brooks was like a great one-cut, like cut-back type of guy, taller than he's supposed to be, but runs small. That's what L.J. Martin kind of reminds me.
Yeah, that's a good example. That play right there, where it's kind of like he sees it, he has one cut to the outside, and it's like okay,
yeah.
But it's like it's not like you see a lot of guys who like when they cut, they break it down and then shift. This is a guy who's just like it all feels very like that. Like it all feels very natural of him saying like, all right, like I'm gonna go this way.
That's the Burgess game I was
I'm
at.
gonna go this way now. I wonder if you were on the film somewhere. And I'm gonna go this way now, and you're not gonna catch me. Like that's what really strikes me about him. He is very smooth out there, and a guy that I think Texas Tech's gonna have a fun time finding ways to get the ball, because he's not like I have to get the ball out of the backfield or I have to line up at the slot to be effective. Like he can do it from everywhere.
I feel good about him being in the Hot 100. I
feel
really
good about
do.
him
And
too.
Texas Tech probably feels good about their recruiting class that's rated number 1 nationally
Yes.
right now. So congrats to Joey McGuire and the boys in Lubbock that are doing a great job on the recruiting trail.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, next level athlete here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. Let's move on to our underclassmen of the week. Our underclassmen of the week. Going to Lancaster to talk about their defensive back, Corlan Gipson. He's going to be a junior this upcoming season. He might be the hottest recruit in the state. He picked up offers this week from, this is an incomplete list, LSU, Alabama, or Oregon, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Florida State this week.
Yes.
So, okay. I think the secret is out on Corlan Gipson.
Have yourself a week, Corlan Gipson.
I was going to say.
He's up to
He gets to go to Chicken Express.
Yeah, no doubt. He's up to 23 total scholarship offers now, and those programs join schools like Texas, Baylor, Arkansas, Notre Dame, and Oklahoma State on his early offer list. Just in the spring, you can throw Notre Dame and Oklahoma State to those schools that you mentioned as just big programs that have offered him in the evaluation period. He plays a lot of safety for them that allows him to cover, both sides of the field, so to speak, and range around. But I kind of like his upside as a cornerback prospect at the next level. At 5'11", 165, he's a guy who has a whole lot of skills in the defensive secondary. And one thing I'm wondering here too is, Corlan Gipson was a guy who was in our DCTF 2024 top 25 freshman in Rising Magazine. And for that edition, I was really thinking hard about, the last few spots. He was one of the guys that was like in the mix for one of those last few spots, because then he was probably like 5'9", 145. He wasn't like he was as developed as he is
He was
now.
a little kiddo.
So we reached out to Coach Gilbert, now Texas assistant coach Chris Gilbert,
Yes.
to verify. Like, is this a guy we should we put him on the list?
Yeah, shoot us straight here.
Yeah, shoot us straight here. And he's like, no bones about it, no doubt. He's going to be a dude, Greg. If you don't put him on, you're going to regret it. And Texas was one of his first offers. And now that Coach Gilbert is there, I wonder, does that have an impact on Gipson's recruitment? We've seen that now. A lot of great Texas high school football coaches go on to the college gigs, and that's made an impact with a lot of recruitments. Cedar Hill guys are gravitating towards Texas Tech. Lancaster guys now have an affinity towards the Longhorns.
Yeah, which would not be the worst thing in the world for the Longhorns. I will say one of the things I think is interesting is that you watch this tape, and I know you mentioned him potentially profiling as a corner. It's worth mentioning that, like, this is an example of a guy that Lancaster is going to use at the place that he can serve the best purpose for them, which is really they played him at free. They played him free to kind of let him run, let him play a little bit of center field and use his speed. That doesn't necessarily his skill set. That doesn't necessarily say his skill set is going to preclude him from playing other places. It's just that for Leon Paul and what they're trying to do at Lancaster holistically on the defensive side, setting him at free and letting him kind of run wild and do what he needs to do and play with a little bit more latitude. I think it sounds like that's what they believe is the best course of action for
them. At least they did last year.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of talent on their squad, but his tape is, as you can see, it's been playing while we've been talking about him. He is fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's a guy who gets after it.
He certainly does. Let's round it all out.
There we go.
With our recruit of the week. Our recruit of the week, we're going to the Texas Panhandle to talk about Amarillo Tascosa 2023 defensive end Avion Carter, who has announced his top 4, 3 in-state schools, TCU, Texas, and Texas Tech, and 1 out-of-state school in Oklahoma State. We've got him as a 4-star prospect at the texasfootball.com/recruiting, the number 25 prospect of the class of 2023. He was part of that dynamic duo out there at Amarillo Tascosa. He may be a little bit overshadowed sometimes by what Major Everhart was doing on the offensive side. But Avion Carter is he's just a grown-ass man. I'm sorry. Like, there's just no other way to put it. He's a grown-ass man.
I like how he's grown up within that program, too. He was a skinny kid 2 years ago that you wouldn't have thought would have been a D1 guy. He tweeted out a picture with Barry Switzer, from 2018. And they are the Avion Carter then and the Avion Carter now. Those are 2 different dudes. You didn't make the cut, but there's a strong chance that he couldn't wind up in state. But he's taken recent, unofficial visits to all these schools, and they're very strongly in the mix. And what they're going to get in him when he does decide to pull the trigger on his commitment is a defensive end who could probably play outside in, create some mismatches. You'll see him right here on this clip. He slid inside, got his hand on the ball to bat it away from the quarterback. And it's that diversity that you really like to see right now in defensive linemen. I mean, no school wants to just say, all right, I'm recruiting you and you have to play this technique because you can't play anything else. They want these guys who can slide around and do a lot of different things. And I think Avion Carter is one of those types of dudes. And, he just gets after the quarterback. And some people may not pay as much attention to guys out in West Texas, but they should start because this part of the state is starting to heat up as far as prospects are concerned.
I'll also say this. So his top 4 here are Oklahoma State, Texas, Texas Tech, and TCU.
Yep.
This is a guy in the Panhandle out there in Amarillo.
Yes, sir.
If you are a believer in and we mentioned that Texas Tech right now, if you look at the recruiting services, have the number 1 ranked recruiting class in the nation. Spoiler alert, they're probably not going to finish number 1 in the recruiting rankings.
No.
Hey, go Coach McGuire and the Red Raiders, rooting for you. But, Alabama will probably decide to recruit some kids. But right now they have it. If they were to get a guy like Avion Carter, right, where there's reasons to believe he should go there, like locally, et cetera, There's also reasons to believe, like, I don't know, Texas is in the mix, and that's usually a big factor. TCU has historically played very good defense. Oklahoma State plays excellent defense, right?
Yep.
If Tech can put this one, Avion Carter, in the win column, then I think it might be time to really sit up and start paying attention, because this is a guy who you can pencil in at the top of almost any class in the nation and feel like, all right, we've got a certified stud coming to our town.
I agree with that, and I will point out that Tascosa is a program that typically sends their players on to the school that they fit best.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this isn't a pipeline program to any one certain school, and I think that's important to note in this recruitment, that they have been given good guidance to probably pick the schools that they may fit scheme-wise. You may remember Jacoby Lott, an offensive guard back in the class of 2018, 2019, picked up a late offer from Texas, but then kind of shunned the Longhorns on National Signing Day to stick with his original pledge at Kansas. You know, they sent Major Everhart to TCU last year, even though Texas Tech really came after him hard. I think that they feel, you know, he, especially himself, probably felt that he had a better chance to make an impact in that offense. That's probably, you know, the reason why he stuck it out with his commitment to TCU. But, you know, no stranger to talent. Avion Carter could really have played for anybody he wants, and it'll be interesting to see who he picks ultimately. I know Major Everhart's probably in his ear for TCU. Texas Tech's closer to home. Texas is a big school, and he rode a horse while he was at Oklahoma State. So, you know.
Well, you didn't mention that in your write-up.
Could that be a feather in Mike Gundy's cap there?
I might need to rethink.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool picture.
How do you factor that into your spreadsheet? Like, is there like a column?
There has
like,
to
did
be.
Did ride horse?
I feel like between that and like did eat barbecue, like something has to be done
Rode
there.
horse on unofficial visit.
Although let's point out, Seth Luttrell at North Texas rode a bull.
Yeah, he rode a mechanical bull
At Coy Aiken's house,
Coy Aikens.
the Stephenville wide receiver, and it didn't seal the deal.
Yeah,
so it's not guaranteed.
But I'm pretty sure. It's really not, because I'm pretty sure Aiken's dad is what they consider the rodeo teacher at Stephenville. So that's big. Like, that's more than just doing it because you're in a country town.
Yeah.
But how well did Luttrell ride the bull?
Maybe that's what it is.
Video,
Like,
maybe Joey hopped on and was better than Seth at riding a bull. So you don't know.
Nick Saban loves to dance.
Yeah, you know, what I know is Brian Kelly loves to hit the gritty. So
I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe
I think he
LSU's
might have
going to be
retired
getting
the gritty now.
I don't know.
It should have been retired the moment that video came out of him.
I don't know. John Morant's still doing it.
Yeah, but he makes it look cool.
One guy who always makes it look cool. It's Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter, GPowersScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter, Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.